Today, we're building a drum trigger. I'm going to show you the steps I took to build my own drum trigger and take this Ludwig Breakbeats acoustic kit and convert it to electric. Check it out. All right, today I'm continuing working on a project I've been working on. I am doing a DIY drum trigger, and I'm converting a Ludwig Breakbeats kit, and I actually picked up an additional tom for it. This matches the kit. It's a Ludwig Element Evolution, so it's another 10-inch tom, so it's actually going to be a 5-piece kit. But I decided for this that I wanted to go with a side-mounted trigger. I'm going to do side mounts for the toms. And I got this L bracket. I had to get this off Amazon since I couldn't find one exactly like this at my local hardware stores. I could only find the corner brackets that had, or corner braces rather, that had the 2 holes on each side. But I wanted something that I could go and adjust up and down. So when I put the foam rod on here, I could have it 1.5 to 2 millimeters above the edge of the drum. So it's making that proper connection, and I could adjust as needed. Taking a look at some of the materials I'm using, I have a 1/4-inch barrel jack that I'm using right here. That's going to go in the side of the drum here, which I did have to drill this port. I still have to sand it, but I had to drill this to make it a little bit bigger so it would fit. Going to the barrel jack, the stereo barrel jack, I have 18-inch speaker wire that I'm using, and I put disconnects on the end, which are going to go to the tip, the ring, and the sleeve. And on the other end, I put wire ferrules. That's going to go into this terminal block, which I'm going to put sticky foam on and kind of adhere that to the drum as well. I have my piezos. I have a larger one for the, I believe it's 35 millimeters for the rims. And then I have a 27 millimeter that I'm going to be using for the head. They did have leads on them already, and they were kind of really, like, not too poorly put on, but not the best. So I went with 18 gauge wire, and I am not the best solderer in the world. I'm not saying that it's even a good solder job. It's not, but it does the trick and it works. So, hey, I'm gonna probably reinforce it with some, maybe a little bit of hot glue or like a silicone caulk, just kind of keep it on there a little bit better. But I went with 18 gauge speaker wire and put the ferrules on the ends of these as well. It's not too heavy to where the vibration is gonna make it fall off. Because that's a known issue that could happen, is the vibration from the drums can go and end up eventually, kind of knocking that connection loose. I have these felt furniture pads, which I'm going to be putting on the base right here of this brace. I'm going to set it here, then put the piezo on top of that, and then put the foam rod on top. And I did this with one drum already, and it turned out pretty good. To kind of, stop that vibration from the rim shots going up and transfer it to that piezo, kind of break that up a little bit. And I ordered these foam rods off of Amazon. I've tried to make my own, and they turned out okay, but I just wanted some consistency. And I am going to make room on the piezo here, like I did with my other one. I'm going to go ahead and cut out a small portion of this. So I'm going to start putting this stuff together, and we will take a look at it afterwards. So I just got done doing the first step of this for converting this tom. I got the barrel jack in there. Like I mentioned, I had to drill this just a little bit wider to get the barrel jack in. And I have my wires on here. One thing I wanted to point out, I have these disconnects on the tip, the ring, and the sleeve, is that I have 2 of the copper color wires and I have 1 of the silver colored. The silver wires go into the sleeve, and the reason I did that is because I'm going to match that up with, for both piezos, for the head piezo and for the rim piezo, the wire that connects to the center ceramic part, these are both going to be going to the same spot in the terminal. The silver one and the silver one are both going to be going into this bottom one. It really doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to have them going into here, and then that's going to match up with the silver one for the barrel jack. It's just something easy for me to remember. All right, one thing I wanted to point out is when I attach the piezos to the felt that I put on here, and also when I attach the other piezo for the rim, and then also this terminal block, I'm using a double-sided foam. And for the head piezo, and also I'm going to do for the rim piezo, I didn't put it over the entire bottom side of the piezo. I just put it underneath where the ceramic is. That way I can still get vibration going to that edge of the piezo. This one I actually got to clean up just a little bit. So I figured that was something worth noting. All right, one thing I want to do, I started making some connections, getting everything put together. I don't have anything adhesed yet. I don't have any foam on. Before I do that, so I'm not wasting foam rods or cones or adhesive, I want to just make sure that this works. I want to test it out. So I should tap on this, and I have this hooked up to my Roland TD-17. Just tap it lightly. And then this is not adhesed, but it's on the rim. Yep, see, it came off. But it does work. I confirmed that it worked, so pretty happy about that. We'll go ahead and get the rest of it set up. So I tested everything. I got everything put together. My barrel jack wired to my terminal block here. Have my felt, my head piezo, and my foam on top, which I measured to make sure that it was 2 millimeters above the head, 1.5 to 2 millimeters above where the head is, well, the edge of the drum, the rim. And I used that double-sided foam to put the rim piezo on, and then also to connect the head piezo to the felt that I have here. And that adhesive that's on the felt, the furniture felt, super, super strong. I was actually really impressed with that. So everything's all wired up. Time to put my Jobecki 3-ply head on and test it out. All right, now time for a test. I have my Jobecki 3-ply put on. I don't have my rubber rim around the top, my rim protector on yet, but I hooked this up with a snare sound just to give an idea of what it sounds like, and I'm using my Simmons amp so you can kind of hear it because I don't know where my iRig cords are and everything to hook that up just yet. So bear with me, let's check it out. Where that hot spot is. And there it is. It's pretty cool. I have some adjustments I have to do, but I think that's pretty cool. It worked. So that's how I built the side-mounted triggers for all 3 toms. You could also do that for the snare and for the kick as well. I did something a little bit different. For the snare, I went with a center mount, and with the kick drum, I went kind of off-centered a little bit with some pillowed padding behind it. I did not record the process of me building those, but I do have some pictures. So this is my snare drum trigger. I use the same L-shaped brackets that I did on the toms with this drum, but connecting them across the center, I have a white piece of a shelving bracket I picked up from my local hardware store. Also, the foam cone that I used instead of the rod is on a series of washers, nuts, and then also a bolt that goes right through the center, so I can actually adjust it and raise and lower that as well. Notice that the rim trigger is on a separate piece of an L-shaped bracket attached to the side of the shell that I cut to fit. I put this like this to eliminate any crosstalk between the triggering, and it actually helps out so that the rim shots aren't cross-talking with the snare drum itself or vice versa. Also, you can see where the L-shaped brackets are connected to that white shelving bracket. I have a bolt going through there with a wing nut, and in between there I have rubber washers. The rubber washers that I used as part of this build also help eliminate that crosstalk. For the first step of converting my kick drum, I found a piece of circular wood online that wasn't quite the size of the diameter of the drum, just a little bit smaller. And I mounted that so it's kind of free floating using some other L-shaped brackets that I had. So I put that in there. And then the next step is I took some furniture foam and I packed that in there. I took the furniture foam, I packed that in there so that when you hit the drum, it actually has something solid to have behind it, kind of giving a more realistic thud. And then also I did a similar trigger that I did with the snare, how it's adjustable, and I used the washers and then the bolt system. I did that through that wood circle that was there, and instead of doing a dual zone, this is directly wired from the sensor right to the barrel jack that's sticking out of the kick drum. I wired this directly because it's only a single zone trigger, because I'm not doing any rim shots or anything with the kick drum itself. I'm just using my kick pedal in it. Also, the tip of that cone is adjusted so it's just a little bit higher than that furniture pad, so that the vibration from the mesh head is going to vibrate down that cone and into the piezo. So that's how I built my own drum triggers and converted this acoustic Ludwig Breakbeats kit into an electric. I have everything hooked up to my Roland TD-17 brain that I had from before, and it turned out quite well. To be honest with you too, the triggers that I built and the step-by-step video footage that you saw was done in 2023, and as of me making this video right now, it's 2025. So they actually held up, even with the soldering job that I did, which I know really wasn't good, and now that I have a little bit more practice, I've done a little bit better. So if you're somebody who was intimidated by building drum triggers, or you are intimidated and it just seems like a very difficult process, don't be. Honestly, the parts are very cheap, except for the heads. These Jobeki heads are well worth it though, the money they spent, but there's other cheaper options. I know, like Remo silent strokes and stuff you can get off Amazon or your music vendor, distributor, whoever, pretty cheap. So there's alternatives to that, but the actual parts for the trigger themselves, the piezos, you could get a bag of like 15 of them, the 20 for a couple dollars. The wire's cheap, the barrel jack's cheap, all the other little electronic parts, super cheap. You know, the foam, the adhesive, all that stuff. So overall, besides the cost of the Jobeki heads, which I said are a good quality, the parts to do this, it was not an expensive project. And I strongly encourage anybody who's ever thought about building your own drum trigger, try it, give it a shot, especially if you already have a module like a Roland sitting around. And that's kind of the boat that I was in. I didn't want to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a drum set that had that shell aesthetic. And me, I was playing the Roland TD-17 with the shallower pads, and I liked it, but I'm a big guy, and I kind of wanted to have that acoustic shell feel, but I didn't want to spend the big bucks. So I put in the research, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, checked out Reddit, a bunch of forums as well, and kind of just pieced together everything and learned how to build my own. So if you want to take this approach and you want to go and do your own conversion, go ahead and give it a shot. I mean, even if you're using your kit and you're like, well, I don't want to mess it up, you really don't have to. I mean, the only thing that I really did was the barrel jacks. I made the air vent hole in the side of the drum a little bit wider. But if you don't want to take that approach and do that just yet, you can go ahead and get the head, you can get the stuff for the triggers, and you could try to just build it yourself and see if it works out. And then you could decide, hey, is this worth going and drilling and making that hole in the side of the drum a little bit wider? But I hope this video was helpful and helped educate you on how you could build your own drum trigger. This is my first time doing it, and it's held up for a couple years. I'm pretty happy with the outcome. And to be honest with you, with things like Facebook Marketplace having acoustic drum kits on there, they're a dime a dozen, I could see myself doing this a little bit more in the future. It was really fun. Also, when you look on there, there's kits all over the place, and you really don't need a high quality wood shell or anything super expensive, because honestly, it's just the trigger and the sound coming through the module, and you're not really hearing what's coming from the shell itself anyway. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. And if you want, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to see any drum covers or anything, or any more videos by me, you could go ahead and subscribe as well. Thanks for watching.